All right, so we're gonna go through the Big Kahuna. I'm gonna kind of show some easier ways to do it instead of putting the box offset on first. We're gonna try and come from here, box offset 90, 3-bend saddle 90, 2.5 inch offset to make it go in here. Gonna try and do it with one cut on there. I don't think that it's gonna shrink at all when I put this here, box offset in. But what I'm gonna do first is get my first measurement. I'm gonna wanna go 1 inch from the top of this board. Makes it easier, okay? So we're 16 inches here. I'm gonna go to 15 inches to the back of my bend. Here's a piece of conduit. Measure to the 15. I'm gonna deduct 5. This is where I'm gonna put the arrow. I'm gonna put the arrow on my bender on that mark. I'm gonna bend this bend first. When I bend this, I'm still going to want to make a measurement after the fact to make sure that it's the right length, because if this has a little bit more, if I need to add or subtract a little bit of take up, I want to know about it before I get to that last bend. Okay, 1 bend down. Now for the next one, I want to make a measurement from the back of this bend to where I want the center of the 3-bend saddle. I'm just going to go off of the back of this connector. I'm going to put my hand on the other edge of this board like this. I'm going to pinch the measuring tape in between my thumb and forefinger. When I go up like this, I see that that's 14 3/8. Then when I make a measurement on here, I'm going to want to go to 14 3/8. And that's going to be the center bend on my 3-bend saddle. That one's going to want to go all the way around. I'm also going to want to make a bend at about 2 1/4 inches on either side of this with my 22-degree bends. 2 1/4 and 2 1/4 is what, 4 1/2? So I'm going to put this on 2 1/4. I'll make a line at 4 1/2. I'm going to make a line right at the end. I'm going to make these lines go all the way around. And I need to make sure that I make this bend the right direction. When it comes up, it needs to go out and then back and then out. Since this is going to be the first bend that I make, I need to bend it this way first, right? I'm going to put this on the teardrop. You use the teardrop because it's the saddest bend that you ever do in conduit bending, okay? I'm going to make sure that this here is aligned with the floor. Then I'm going to make a 45-degree bend on there. This is 30, right? Perfect. Now these other 2 bends, I'm going to put those on the arrow. Make sure that they're 180 degrees opposite of this. I'm going to put those on the arrow, and I'm going to bend away from this bend and towards that bend. Well, I'm going to bend both of them away from this center bend, okay? Put this on the arrow. Get it lined up so it's just right. I put my foot in front of that, kind of like hook it, and I put it in this little cradle right there. I want to bend this to 22 degrees. I've never met a bender where this measurement was right. So I'm also going to look down this and see where this line is, and then I'm going to make an adjustment from there. So just a little bit more. That might be just perfect. Then I'm going to bend away from that middle bend again on this side. Oop. Line it up with the arrow. Hook that. Just pull down. Always works better to pull down than to push down. Even if you're tall. So if you're too tall to do that, it's best to get a little bit longer handle on your bender. Okay, when I take a look at this, if I put this on this table, on this edge, and I look at this, if I line this side up with the edge of the table, I can see that this bend needs some more in it, or this would line up. And if I line this edge up with the table, looks like I need a little bit more in this one so that that lines up. So I'm gonna just put a little bit more bend into this. Oh, getting close. And just a tad more in this one. When I get done, if I look down this, it should be nice and straight and pretty. Might need a little bit of tweaking in a minute. We're gonna run with this for right now, okay? Let's see what it looks like on the table. Just real fast. Wow. That's pretty good. So we're gonna run with that. Now I need to find out what the measurement is from the back of this to the back of the other one that's gonna come down the other side. First thing I'm gonna do is get a measurement. I'm gonna do it the same way. It's worked well for me in the past. Plus this board is square. I'm just gonna go like this. I'm gonna put my eyeball on that. See, that needs to be 28 3/4. So I'm gonna make a mark at 28 3/4. Now, oh, then I'm gonna subtract 5. Actually, what I'm gonna do this time, I'm gonna put it on the star. So I'm just gonna bring this all the way around. And instead of putting it on the arrow, deducting 5 inches, putting it on the arrow and bending this side up, I'm gonna put it on the star and bend this side up, okay? That should work great.
Great.
Star. Not the tier. Put it right on that. Get it lined up. Make it straight. And bend it to a 90. Then I'm going to measure to see how far the board is from the back of this, which is 1 inch lower than the top of that, to where the box is. I'm going to mark it and not cut it. I'm going to mark it because that's where I'm going to put the front of the bender when I go and make this 2.5 inch offset in there, okay? Subtract 1 inch from that. That says that's going to be 19 inches long. Go to the longer side of this.
Gonna make a mark at 19 inches long. And this one doesn't have to be exact. This is where I'm gonna put the front of my bender. Oh, and then I'm gonna make another mark that's 5 inches further down because I'm gonna use 30-degree bends on this last offset. I'm also gonna put that one at the front of the shoe. Make these go at least most of the way around. Which way does this go? So if you bend this one backwards, you're having a bad day, okay? So this one, it needs to come down, it needs to go out and then back. So this is gonna be the first one I do. So the first one I'm gonna do is back. I'm gonna just set it down like this. I'm gonna compensate a little bit for this little bumpy outy part. That's a technical term. Oops. Come on, baby, light my fire. Okay. "30-degree bend" is when the handle's straight up. All right. Flip it over, do it again. This time put the front of the shoe on that other mark. Looks like the first part of this is gonna have to be careful or I'll undo that one a little bit. That should be 2.5 inches tall. All right. Now I'm gonna make the 19-inch measurement, and this is where I'm gonna cut that off. But before I do that, I'm gonna put the last bends into this one. I'm gonna do it the same way, except for I'm going to do these ones up in the air because box offsets I think are easier like this, because I can look at them. One measurement, one cut, and this sucker will be good to go. 19. Didn't shrink too much. Just really fast, pour it in. I'm not even going to ream it because we're in a hurry. Let's see what it looks like. Boom.
Great.
Great.